Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Ashland, the Henry Clay Estate. This is another episode of Wake Up with Ashland. I'm really glad that you could join us. If this is your first time joining us, this is our virtual tour series that we do every Tuesday at 9 a.m. My colleague and curator Eric Brooks is doing Artifact Adventures every Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we today are just going to do another tour, a place in the house that we haven't explored yet. This is the Ash bedroom. So if you haven't joined us, or if you're joining us this morning, if you would go ahead and tell us where you're watching from. And if you have questions throughout the tour, just let me know. I also have colleagues working from home who are going to be able to answer questions when I inevitably can't answer something that you ask. So feel free to ask away and we'll have somebody who can answer questions. This series is sponsored by Dupree Mutual Funds. Thank you to Dupree for making this happen. We have been bringing you content every Tuesday and Thursday through most of the quarantine. And we've been, it's been an exciting opportunity to be able to interact with people this way. And you're kind of getting a behind the scenes look at Ashland. Today we are behind the rope, which is something you don't usually get to do on a tour. Good morning, Julie from Greenville. That's my mom, everybody. Good morning, Julie. She's an avid follower. Thank you, Mom. I see Sue Andrew, one of our volunteers, is watching, and board members. Shirley Hightower, good morning from Alabama. Terry Smith is watching from Lexington in the Andover area. Good morning, Terry. So today, like I said, we're going behind the rope. We are in one of the coolest rooms in the house, the Ash bedroom. And it's called the Ash bedroom because of the furniture in here, which is made from ash wood. And in just a second, I'll show you that. But we're going to be talking about the Civil War, how the Civil War came to Ashland, what it meant to the estate, what it would have meant to Clay and his legacy, but then how it affected the family, Henry Clay's descendants. Good morning, Mary Broach. She's another one of our awesome volunteers. We can't wait to have you back soon, hopefully, Mary. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera away from me so you all can see the Ash bedroom. Good morning, Eric, our curator watching from home. Eric is going to probably be answering a lot of your questions about the Civil War from home today. So I'm just going to do a little pan of this room. Good morning, Mike McDonald, another one of our volunteers. And I want to just kind of give you a glimpse of the furniture made from ash wood. If you've wondered why Ashland is called Ashland, it is because when Henry Clay came here, there were quite a few ash trees on the property. There are still a couple of ash trees on the property today. Good morning, Kathy Tutt. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Civil War, and I'm going to come up here and show you Henry Clay's son, James B. Clay. Now, James B. Clay was the son who took over Ashland after Henry Clay died. Henry Clay died in 1852, and his son, James, took over right after that. You can see James here, the little glare, and his wife, Susan Jacob Clay here. A beautiful picture or image of Susan here. When they moved here, they were rebuilding the house into the format that you see today at Ashland. It's, the same floor plan as the original Ashland, but it's in the Italianate style, much more updated for their conveniences. Good morning, Matt from Hartford. It's my cousin. It's a family affair here at Ashland this morning. We're talking about, for those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about the Civil War and James, who lived here during the Civil War. Now, he and his wife, Susan, had a lot to be hopeful for again. They've just moved into Ashland. But the war was coming, so we know that there were tensions during Henry Clay's time, and it was Henry Clay's job to keep the Civil War at bay. That was what he fought his entire career to do. And not only did it come to the nation, it came to his state of Kentucky. It came and divided his own family, and it physically, literally came here in a skirmish on the estate here at Ashland. Now, Lexington, for the most part, was a Union town, And James B. Clay, it oftentimes kind of felt uncomfortable here, had been asked to raise troops and for the Confederacy. He sided with the Confederacy, and while he said he didn't want to raise troops, this broadside was already issued in his name. So he says he didn't have anything to do with it, but let's actually go ahead and read this broadside. Kentuckians, the time for hesitation has passed. You have now to fight either for the Yankees, who will press you into their service, or for your homes, your firesides, your property, and your liberty. So he's asking with your brethren of the South to join and take up for your own property and, become part of the Confederacy. Saying he's going to raise an infantry himself at Camp Breckinridge. And again, this doesn't actually happen, but James B. Clay, at two different points tries to escape. Once to the south, he eventually does end up in Montreal because there was a lot of pressure against him here, the son of Henry Clay. And so he ends up in Montreal. He has tuberculosis at this point. His wife, Susan, is left here with her children. And they're staying here at Ashland. And then in October of 1862, we have some some Union soldiers who are camping essentially on the property here at Ashland. So I'm actually going to take you into another room and show you the approximate area of where these Union soldiers might have been camping, just to give you a sense of the proximity here. So in this general area, if you're familiar with Lexington, that's Richmond Road that we're looking at. So there are about 294 Union soldiers who are camping here. John Hunt Morgan gets wind of this. His 1,800 troops come to attack. And this happens right here. This skirmish happens right here at Ashland. 4 casualties, Union casualties. We don't know how many Confederate casualties, but 290 or so Union soldiers were captured. So this is kind of crazy, right? Think about this. A woman here, Susan Jacob Clay, trying to take care of her children. The nursery here kind of give you a sense of what the children's lives were like. She's trying to take care of her children while literally right outside there's a skirmish taking place. She's had her daughter playing the piano, Union soldiers the night before coming in and asking if they can hear and listen to the piano. And she says, "You poor homesick boys, of course, come on in," even though she was a staunch Confederate. And so we have her son, Charles, who's upstairs peering out the window, and he's seeing horses go by with nobody riding them. And so this is a traumatic event for them. She's telling her son, her children, to stay down, to lie down in case there are any stray bullets that come. So this is, again, a very traumatic experience for Susan Jacob Clay. Her husband is away in Montreal. He's dying from tuberculosis. And just, at the end of the war, James B. Clay does end up dying from tuberculosis. And so she's lost several of her children from diseases. Her son, Jimmy, was fighting in the Confederacy. He was actually, the last act of the Confederacy was to accept his resignation as officer. But Susan Jacob Clay said that if she had more sons of fighting age, she would have sent them to fight for the Confederacy too. So this is just a really kind of fascinating story, because Henry Clay, trying to keep the Union together, he has grandsons, 4 in fact, fighting for the Confederacy. He has a son who has been forced to flee Ashland because of his loyalty to the Confederacy. And he has one grandson who's fighting for the Union. So it's quite literally tearing the family apart. And this would have been, the last thing that Henry Clay wanted, not only tearing the nation apart, but tearing his own family apart. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask them. I'm going to actually take you now into another room while you ask some questions. Good morning, Bradley Clay. Good morning, Meredith Kuntz. All right, I'm actually going to see if I can turn the flash on in here just a little bit. We're in the library now. So this is kind of on the tour. When we give the tour, we talk about how Henry Clay tried to keep the Union together. But we know, of course, that the war did come. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask them, and I'll do my best to answer them. This is the skylight here in probably everyone's favorite room of the house. Well, if there are no questions, I'm going to say thank you for joining us for another Wake Up with Ashland. I hope you enjoyed this. You can actually come out here to Ashland and see the Civil War marker. There's a monument it's like an obelisk, kind of looks like the Washington Monument, but much smaller, out on the grounds if you want to come learn a little bit about it or commemorate the battle or the skirmish that took place here. It's not actually in the same place where the battle took place. The battle probably took place closer to the Richmond Road area, but the marker is closer to kind of between the house and Woods Point. So for those Lexingtonians who are very familiar with Ashland, you'll understand that. Jesse Johnson says, when the troops were captured, where were they taken? Eric Brooks, our curator, I'm throwing that question to you because I have no idea where they went once they were captured. And did a cannonball hit the house? I'm also going to send that to Eric, who's watching from home, to let us know if a cannonball hit the house. I don't know that. I've never heard that. Matt Sumner asks, when will the estate be opened fully? We are working on that. Right now, we're hoping to get an announcement out pretty soon. We know that it will look very modified from what it looked like before, probably doing outdoor tours for a little while to make sure that we can adequately socially distance, as you've probably seen on some of these tours. It's not easy to keep 6 feet distance between each other in some rooms of this house. So if you're able to answer some of these questions, I'm going to turn the camera around and just kind of let you look at some of these details. Let's see here. I can open this. This is one of my favorite little pieces of the house. This is the ash furniture commissioned by Henry Clay's son, James. Okay. Well, hopefully Eric is going to be able to get with us soon and answer those questions. And so you can just check back on this post anytime throughout the day, and we'll keep adding more information as we're able to answer those questions. And if you have questions, if you're watching this after the fact, we still see those questions. So send them in to us and we'll do our best to answer them. Oh, here's Eric. Paroled at the courthouse downtown Lexington. No cannonballs hit the house. At least mortar round has been found archaeologically. Yes, there has been some archaeological digs to let us know that where the battle actually took place. Yes, and Susan so the house actually, a lot of people ask this because mansions like Ashland were often turned into battlefield hospitals. But yes, Susan allowed people from both sides to come in to be treated. So the house did kind of serve as a impromptu camp field hospital. Okay, well, I'm gonna say farewell for today. Join us on Thursday. We've got a really special artifact adventure. Eric, our curator, who's just answering questions from home, he is actually going to be showing you how to preserve some of your own family artifacts. And on that note, go to henryclay.org, click on the blog, and look at some of these incredible artifacts that people are sending in. You can actually send in an artifact too. You can do that on the blog. You can see there's a form. You can send in a family artifact. We're creating, one Kentucky family. We're comparing it to some of Henry Clay's artifacts to show how very similar through space and time we Kentuckians really are. My grandmother actually submitted one. It's so cool. It's a painting of the house where she was born. And we've paired it with one of Henry Clay's, a painting of his birthplace as well. So please go online and participate. We'd love to see how you identify as a Kentuckian. And again, this is not just for people who live in Kentucky. This is for people who identify with the state in any way. They want to be Kentuckians. They love Kentucky. They love visiting. They maybe were born here but haven't lived here in 40 years. We don't care. Kentuckians, our blood runs thick. And so, yeah, we want you to participate. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you on Thursday. We won't be with Ashland, actually. We're going to be at Eric's own home. So this is going to be kind of a cool artifact adventure this week. So thank you all so much for tuning in. If you want more information about the Civil War at Ashland, go to henryclay.org and you can find more information there too. Thank you all so much. Hope you all are staying healthy at home for the most part. And as you're going back to work, some of you who haven't been, we hope you continue to stay safe and healthy. And we're going to be, providing more information about our reopening soon. Thank you so much.